good day to everyone, especially to our instructor. So we are the group 7 presenter number 5 and we are here to tackle about the topic discipline. So when we hear the word discipline, what comes into our mind? Maybe we're already familiar with the word discipline, so before diving into the details of our report, it is important to acknowledge that discipline is a concept we're all familiar with in various aspects of our lives, whether it is maintaining focus at work, adhering to fitness routine, or following societal rules. Discipline is an integral part of achieving our goals and maintaining order. This report will explore the multifaceted nature of discipline, its significance, and practical ways to cultivate it in different areas of our lives. So, discipline is one of the most important personality traits in everyone's life. It refers to a set of rules and regulations which are to be followed while undergoing any task or activity. It is a way of being honest, hardworking, motivated, and encouraged while doing any task. It is a character trait that helps individuals to complete the task within a given fixed deadline. The role of discipline in our life is to set orderliness, efficiency, punctuality, organization, and focus in our task. Life without discipline is just like a ship without radar. Therefore, the importance of discipline in life just cannot be ignored. So as we all know now that discipline is one of the most important personality traits in our lives, it means following a set of rules and guidelines while doing any tasks or activities. But it also helps us to be honest, hardworking, motivated, and focused. So discipline ensures we complete tasks on time and stay organized. For example, think about a student who has to submit a project in 2 weeks. If the student is disciplined, they will make a plan, work in the project a little each day, and finish it on time without rushing. This way, they can ensure the project is well done and submitted before the deadline. On the other hand, if the student lacks discipline, they might procrastinate, leaving all the work until the last minute. This can lead to stress, a poorly done project, and possibly missing the deadline. Discipline brings order, efficiency, and punctuality into our lives. Without it, life can be chaotic and unorganized, much like a ship without radar, lost at sea. Therefore, discipline is essential for success and achieving our goals. A well-disciplined student who has a positive attitude in life and is focused. Discipline teaches students to be concentrated and motivated toward their studies as well as other areas of their life. Someone with strong goals is more focused and always keeps his job on time in daily life. It helps the student to remain calm and composed. This helps him or her to maintain focus and to keep moving on with the problems. Discipline is rarely enjoyable, but almost always profitable. So, what does this phrase mean? Being disciplined is rarely enjoyable, but almost always profitable. So, kabaman tanong as students, like for example, kita nga third year student karon. So, we have a lot of work like studying or being a student. It always accompanies stress. So, mas-stress yun ta. Like sa atong research, sa atong major projects or etc. So having discipline is very important. Like if muskwila ta, mumatag itag sayo para di ta malate. So that's being disciplined. So rarely enjoyable siya kay kisa may malipay na like wala kay tug like pagabian na kay na project ka nya mumatag kag sayo para lang di ka malate. So dili siya enjoyable but profitable siya kay usa may result anang nakay disiplina like dili ka pirmi malate, di ka mo absent even on worst times or etc. So profitable siya kay kita ra man gyapon maka-benefit anatong gibuhat in the future. Like if maka-graduate ta puhon, like makapasar ta sa tanan natong subject, maka-graduate ta puhon, di ba? Mataga na to og kanang ma-proud ang atong parents nato. So profitable siya. Also makakita tag nindot nga trabaho because natay diploma. So, diba? That's the main focus is that discipline is not really enjoyable, but it is always profitable. So that's what this phrase means. So let's proceed to the importance of discipline. So there are 8. So first is manage time, or as we are all familiar with the term time management. So kabaw kita as a student that having time management is really important. Like sa akong giingon ganiha, like we have being a student accompanies stress, like daghang mga tasks, daghang deadlines, projects, etc. So having time management is really important because how does it relate to having discipline? Of course, if we have self-discipline, we can manage our time better. So for example, if we have a task with certain deadline, then we really have to finish that task immediately before the deadline. So second is staying active or stay active. So we all know that having discipline is like being active, because makaprevent na sa ato ang natay sedentary lifestyle. Okay, if we have discipline, like if being disciplined is following all the rules man, like adhering to any circumstances. So if we have discipline, then we can stay active all we want, because we tend to do all the tasks immediately than having to procrastinate at the end of the day, diba? So third is being focused. So of course, having discipline, we can stay focused, especially if we have tasks as a student. So being disciplined is staying focused, being goal-oriented. You know where to go, you know what to do. Having goal in life is very important, especially as a student, because it sets us our target, so that our success criteria, or as anything you call it. So fourth is self-control. So this really has similarities. Being disciplined equals to having self-control, because for example, like you on that day you really wanted to play mobile game like Mobile Legends, but your mother said no, because you need to finish your assignment first. So if wala kay self-discipline, if wala kay self-control, then you tend to talk back and then fight back, diba? So it really a disrespect to your elder or your parents. So having self-discipline and having self-control is really important to be a good person, to be a good student, to be a good child to your parents. Fifth is relieve stress. So what does having discipline relate to relieving stress, right? Like if we have anang masuso tong nauna at first, that if natay discipline we tend to be stressful, etc. So we have different perceptions, but this importance of discipline is very profitable, because for example, if you have a task with deadline, and then if wala kay self-discipline, then atura ka mohimo if hapit na ang deadline. So I'm not talking about myself, guys. So you really tend to be stressful, di ba? Kay mag-procrastinate man ka, kay ugma na deadline na, magkarakara na ka. So ang tendency, dili na matarong inyong project, kay dali in a rush. Second is na-stress ka, nag-mental breakdown ka, kay kanang hapit na ang deadline niya, nag-overthink na ka. What if dili ka ka-pass on time? What if mahagbong ka? What if di ka ka-graduate? What if kasaban ka si mong mama? So there are a lot of disadvantages. So why does it? So back to the topic, like why does it relieve stress? Having the importance of discipline, like relieve stress. So it relieves stress because if layo pa ang deadline, magbuhat na ka like 1 week before the deadline. So in each day, magbuhat ka kanang like buhaton mo mga project, like a little time each day, para ganang wala pa itulog adlaw, mahuman na ka. So nakapas na ka, wala na ka na problema nga kanang wala pa ka kabuhat. Pero may lang ko sa storya, pero wala pa ko sa buhat. So sixth importance of this self-discipline is better academic performance. So having discipline, like for example, ako na lang kaning the importance of discipline specifically as a student na lang, kay wala man gi-generalize, like ang kaning mga importance nga na-tackle sa among topic is these are the eight importance of discipline as a student. So say the sixth is better academic performance. So what really results in better academic performance? Being disciplined, waking up early, doing the task before the deadline. So that really result in better academic performance. Like kana nga time nga allotted ra para sa mo mag-study ka kay exam na nimo ugma, di ba? So that result into a better academic performance. So seventh is getting better grades. So that's really similar lang jud no sa better academic performance, but this is very specific, like getting better grades. If you have discipline, like mag-study ka sa exams para dako kag scores, di ba? Studying is equals to better grades. So last but not the least is set a good example to others. So of course, for example, as a third year college student, like we're almost there. Layo pa pero layo na. So setting a good example to others, like our younger ones, like our younger siblings or younger cousins, etc. So setting a good example, like having self-discipline in your studies. So, di ba, ma-inspire po sila, like, oh, luta ni Ate Jessa, uy, kay ka ng consistent dean's lister, like that. So, mo-strive po sila, that will make them strive for the better. Like, mo-strive sa sila nga, I wanna be like her, I wanna be like him, or like that, di ba? So, nakapasar na ka, naka-inspire pa ka. So, that will be all, guys.
Hi everyone, good day. Our topic is self-discipline. So let me start with the question, why should one have self-discipline in life? So self-discipline means self-control, the ability to avoid unhealthy excess of anything that could lead to negative consequences. So basically, we apply this in our daily life, but sometimes we tend to be addict on things that we are fond of doing because of anxiety and depression. So it is the ability to reject instant gratification and pleasure in favor of some greater gain, which requires spending effort and time to get it. So it requires so basically the word reject, so you means sacrificing your pleasure, the things that you love to do, or things that you are dreaming of and the things that you really want. So sacrifice now for a better future. It means perseverance and not giving up in the strength not to give into negative feeling. It means overcoming your one's weaknesses, its ability to pursue one plan despite temptations to abandon them. So basically perseverance, despite what others think, despite of all the failures, you must have the will to continue doing what you really want, working for a better future, and overcoming your weaknesses is listing down what you need to do and planning for what you need to upgrade for you to have your dreams come true, and abandoning the things that it gives you a small pleasure, especially playing mobile games and drinking a lot of soft drinks for your dreams, or sacrificing your wants just to get the needs of your dreams. In conclusion, discipline is very important as seen at both levels, individual and collectively for society. It helps people to showcase their attitude and represent their character and thinking. Both the body and the mind are honed by discipline. Discipline helps to address individual problems and to develop a society that is both peaceful and respectful. Therefore, it would be right to say that without discipline, there is no life at all. So, based on my my understanding, self-discipline is much needed in our society because a lot of people nowadays have no self-discipline and they have no respect. They tend to be arrogant. They're rushing things off. They don't have patience, and I don't really like people without self-discipline because most of those people are failing in their life, and I do believe in a saying that how you want to be treat others, how you want to be treated. So it's similar to the saying that whatever you plant, you will harvest. So if you do bad to others, bad things will come to you. But if you do good to others, you will respect them. Good things will come back to you always. Let's move on to categories of different difficult employees. With so many different people and personalities filing our workplace, it is inevitable that there's at least one difficult employee can be found. Whether it is the person who can always arrive late with a coffee in their hand, or the person who sends email to everyone yet over replies to theirs, you are left in a position of having to manage them. And while most of don't showcase their challenging tendency until well after hiring, what can you do to manage these employees in compliant manner? Difficult employees can fall into many categories. However, the snoozer, the grump, the patient, and the bludger are the most common. Here we explain these 4 types of difficult employees, how to deal with them in your workplace. Category is the snoozer. The snoozer's excuse can range from "I sleep through my alarm" to a bad topic, and while sometimes these are valid, other times these excuses can be all convenient when they are accompanied by hot coffee and breakfast. Being late happens with so many things outside our control. Getting to work on time is truly fit, but when it becomes a pattern, it's been clear that standards of professionalism in the workplace are not being met. How do I manage this? Recognizing that there is an issue with an employee's conduct is the first step, and then it's time to manage the situation. Documenting an employee's conduct can help identify patterns of behavior that need to be rectified and managed appropriately. After acknowledging that there's a pattern of behavior that needs to be fixed, issuing a warning can give an employee the chance to fix their conduct, adjust it to meet a business's professional standards. Often employees can be unaware that their tardiness is causing a problem. However, once it's been brought to their action and they continue to disregard their start time, this can be considered grounds for termination. So, examples, ano yung kanang mga permi ma-late sa kanang trabaho, and sige sila excuse na late sila tungod kay traffic sa kuan, nakatulog sila tungod sa traffic, and ang action based on the report is you need to examine their behavior. You need to conduct a plan and why they are being late, and if you found out that they're doing that not because it's important, and it's only because they are one of example of the snoozer, and they can come early to the workplace. So you are, as a manager, you are required to terminate that person. And the next one is the grump. No one wants to be around someone with a bad attitude. Let alone work closely with them. These negative vibes around to impact team morale and productivity. Have you ever noticed that this type of challenging employees will attempt you to put their best forward at the beginning of the employment relationship, and these issues may not always present themselves initially. It can take. So there are ang report. There are I mentioned small part of the grams. So masabta naman nato na ang mga grams ka ng mga tao nga batig batasan sa workplace. Kailangan ginito sila sabton for us, pero I do believe also na dili tanan bati sa imo, bati po sila nabutay kanang laylain nga side. So if ever gani kailangan lang gini mong understanding sa workplace, sa maragid sa pagdili mo sa imong sikataw nimo. That's all. Thank you.
So number 2 is the grump. So no one wants to be around with someone with a bad attitude, let alone work closely with them. These negative vibes are bound to impact team morale and productivity. Have you ever noticed that these types of challenging employees will attempt to put their best foot forward at the beginning of the employment relationship? And these issues may not always present themselves initially. It can take time for true colors to show. But when they do, what can you do? So, can you dismiss someone simply for their rudeness or bad attitude? So, kanang the grump is mao na siya kanang kuan kining sa tawag na kining bida-bida bitaw nga pagka empleyado bida-bida kining sip-sip ya ug makakita og sayop nimo dali na siya kabantay mao na siya. So kabantay man siguro mo nga bisag bag-o pa na siya sip-sip lagi kaayo. Mo na siya nga klase sa employee niya kisa may ganahan nga magkikauban og inana. So ang kuan dere pwede ba nimo i-dismiss siya nga tungod lang ana iyang batasan? So how do I manage this? So we all have our bad days and moods fluctuate from high and lows, but dealing with someone who is constantly negative can have a serious impact on workplace morale. And while we don't intend to bring our personal feelings into the workplace, it happens. The first thing to do when faced with a grumpy employee is give them a benefit of the doubt. There is a multitude of things that could have triggered a grump to appear, and the reason could very well be something unrelated to the workplace. Ask the question, is everything okay? And offer them the space to share. This could be what alerts you to a potential workplace issue that needs your attention or allows you to offer important support or an employee who needs it. So if this doesn't solve the bad attitude problem, then the next step is to go over business code of conduct policy with the employee explaining standards expected from staff in the workplace. If after this the behavior continues, warning have been issued, you can begin considering transitioning the employee out of the organization. So usaha man nimo siya pagdaang mga inana nga employee. So kay ba mo tatanan nga naatay mga bad days, bad sides, mga kuan na to ba mga bati nga batasan. Pero dili naman siguro na nato kuan like dili man na nato kailangan pandadon sa workplace kay dako gani siyang impact sa imong pagtrabaho o dili na sa imong pagtrabaho kundi dili sa imong kauban. So inani na siya kung naa kay kauban nga kining batid yung batasan iyo siya duulon mo tanong siya so unsa ma okay ra ka or okay ra batanan or nung siya pangutanong kumusta man ka nana lagi ka nana para maka-open up siya sang iyang kuan gipabati o ngano bati gi siya batasan or basig built-in lang gid iyang pagkabatig batasan. So kung dili man ganin siya magsilbi pwede na kamo adto sa ng business code of conduct policy na ang imong buhaton nana kay murag reklamo mo siguro ka sa kaon pagsabot kay reklamo ka ya o magsiki pa gani gihapon ang inana nga batasan. So pwede na mo transition pwede na siya i-consider nga i-transition ang employee nga i-out sa organization. So number 3 is the patient. Everyone gets sick and there's nothing we can do to stop that. After navigating through a global pandemic, we all know. So Ma! nagbuhat kong project.
The bludger. Productivity is a liner frustrative in every workplace, and while everyone was inevitable slump in output, it's when tasks start stack up and one employee to-do list that frustration can build. Zero up the meeting and say the equation, even yet the productive levels just don't reflect the hours spent at hour. How do I manage this? Dealing with our certified bludger calls for performance management. Step performance management covers everything from monitoring and employee output to scheduling regular and important performance review. Meeting catching up with the employee can be as simple as informal one-on-one meeting held over Zoom or formal in-person session where you can share the expectation of the employee and the roles, and the bludging continues despite the employee being given every opportunity to justify their behavior. You can start considering the termination process. In the workplace or company, we cannot avoid the employee not performing their job very well, and also the output will affected to the employee like this. The manager should monitor that kind of employee and make a corrective action for this in order to have a smooth and more effective and efficient inside the working area. This is the disciplinary process. Discipline is an approach used by management to define the undesirable performance and behavior through the use of corrective action process. At the concept of any employee performance or conduct issues, supervisors are strongly encouraged to contact employee relations staff for assistance. This is the process flow of disciplinary action. First, clear expectation. Second, training. Then coaching, constructive feedback, counseling. Then written reprimand, suspension, demotion, and termination.
So what is a disciplinary procedure? A disciplinary procedure is a formal way for employers to deal with unacceptable behavior by an employee. In the UK, when employers undertake disciplinary procedures, they must follow specific steps before firing an employee to meet ACA's requirements or those set out on Gov.uk. This will help employers avoid hefty penalties if they were to be sued for constructive dismissals. So in UK, kung ang usa ka employee kay gi-undertake disciplinary procedures, naa sila gi-follow nga specific steps usa nila i-fire ang usa ka employee. So, what is the purpose of a disciplinary procedure? No matter how large or small your company is, at some point, you may need to dismiss an employee for unacceptable behavior, otherwise known as employee misconduct. So, bisag unsa pa nakadako or kagamay imong company, kung ang imong employee is nakabuhat og unacceptable behavior, need yun na siya nimo i-dismiss. So, the purpose of a disciplinary procedure is to establish whether an employee should dismiss and help you do the following. Tell employees their behavior is not okay. So, kinahanglan nimo mag-open up sa imong employee nga naa siya behavior nga need usbon. So, next is find a way to resolve the issue, hopefully in a constructive way that encourage them to change their approach. So, mangita kag paagi nga ma-resolve nimo ang issue in a way nga dili siya malain og pagsabot. So, put penalties in place depending how serious their behavior is. So, depende kung unsa ka seryoso ang problema, need you na nimo siya tagaan og penalty. So, make sure your company is covered if they try to sue you for unfair dismissal. So, make sure nimo nga dili ma-appeal ang imong company kung panangitan nga moreklamo sila tungod sa unfair nga penalties. A disciplinary procedure helps you take everyone involved through the formal process. This process is designed to help employers collect relevant evidence of this behavior. Give employees a chance to explain their side of story. So, importante gaini nga maminaw ta sa ilahang side para matagaan sila nga fair nga treatment. So remove bias from the process as much as possible. Show that due diligence has taken place and help companies make sure they are treating staff fairly and consistently. So, important note though that formal disciplinary procedures does not always need to be followed in the case of a gross misconduct. It is a legal requirement to follow a specific disciplinary procedure. In short, no. While dismissing staff is generally covered by UK employment law, there is no specific law about that what procedures must be followed. There are guidelines you should follow then when taking disciplinary actions against an employee, like this provided on gov.uk. Since this guide was developed in collaboration with the Labor Relations Agency, it's worth paying attention to what it says. Ignoring its advice could haunt you in the future. So, the disciplinary procedure, step by step. Disciplinary procedures follow a particular set of steps that must be undertaken sequentially. UK employers can choose to undertake their own process using the principles laid out by the Advisory Conciliation and Arbitration Service, or ACAS Code of Practice, or follow ACAS step-by-step disciplinary procedures. Grievances at work aren't always serious enough to warrant full disciplinary procedure. That's why the first stage of the disciplinary procedure is to understand if it's necessary to go all the way to seek a disciplinary hearing or dismiss an employee. So, dili naman bati nga behavior is need nga tagaan og full disciplinary procedures. Na times nga ang employee na mismo ang magdisiplin sa ilang kaugalingon, since kay bawa naman sila sa ilang kaugalingong batasan, sila na mismo ang makapausaban na.
Understand the issue before undertaking a formal disciplinary procedure. Check if it is really necessary. Sometimes it helps to have a calm, private conversation with an employee to help them understand what's wrong and give them a chance to fix it. Often a personal conflict can arise from a simple misunderstanding rather than going through a full disciplinary procedure, which may not be necessary. HR can help managers with conflict resolution. For example, when managers can provide context, empathy, and constructive criticism, or various other types of feedback, they can ensure action is taken to resolve underlying issues. So, ikaw as an HR, you need to understand the issue first. Kanang tagaan mo chance ang imong employee nga mustoya sa iyang side pod. Sa iyang side, para ikaw mismo na HR makakuan ka nang ikaw na mismo HR kanang mo butang sa imong kagalingon kung asa ka mo panig nga dapat karang kuan disciplinary action good to fix mga na, for example, to fix mga not to kanang it's part of kanang job ramangpod, labi na simple misunderstanding ha inana. So dapat paminawon pud nimo ang panig sa pikas o pikas. That's it. Number 2, follow a fair procedure. If the initial conversation doesn't resolve the issue, ensure you follow fair procedures. Ideally, your staff handbook will already cover what happens when disciplinary procedures might be necessary. Refers to this document first. Your handbook should include what acceptable work behavior is. It should cover health and safety rules, what you can and can't do on the internet, what to do regarding absences and timekeeping, and how to report bullying. So dapat mo kuan ka sa imong kanang dapat ang imong buhaton kay tan-awon sa imong handbook daan, and kung ang imong handbook ay it's not kanang updated bitaw, dapat i-update nimo sa inyong kumpanya kay inyong kumpanya may nahibaw kung unsang kuan da kay dia sa handbook na da nakabot ang tanan kuan manggod mga values say dili og angay buhaton before ka mag-decision saktong pamaagi. Investigate thoroughly. If you decide that a formal disciplinary procedure is necessary, it's time to start investigating what has been happening. A third party, ideally an unbiased one, should investigate the circumstances thoroughly. They may require interviewing all affected parties, gathering copies of emails, and either holding an investigatory meeting with the employee or collecting evidence for use at a disciplinary hearing. So ano ni kanang kung proceed na ka sa kanang disciplinary kanang procedure, need na gid ang disciplinary procedure nga buhaton, dapat ang na-appeal nga na-issue ani nga kanang group or parties, dapat tagsa-tagsaon nimo mga pangitaan, interviewhan nimo tagsa-tagsa kung sabi ginahitabo, minaw nimo yung side as an HR nara ka sa to nga permanente nya katong mga ebidensya nga kanang nakuha nimo sa ilang mga email, kanang imo sang nang subayon daan lang mga email niya, ang ebidensya na mo gamiton nimo sa inyong hearing. Prepare for a hearing or disciplinary meeting and hold one once an investigation has occurred. Derek says that statutory minimum disciplinary procedure should follow. This includes sending out a letter to an employee explaining why disciplinary action is being considered, holding a meeting to discuss the issue, making a disciplinary decision, giving employees a chance to appeal this decision. So, muna ni ang dahil nadapitang mo kaning disciplinary meeting mo ni ang kung unsa ang disciplinary action nga imong buhaton sa gi-complain na employee.
This letter is not the same as a formal written warning. It's simply a document that informs the employee about the hearing or meeting. Employees must be made aware that they have the right to bring someone else with them to the meeting. A formal verbal warning is issued only once the meeting has been held and the decision has been made. When this happens, the supervisor or HR professional involved will present evidence of wrongdoing to the employee, discuss the issue and the result, deliver a verbal warning to the employee. Although the name is misleading, verbal warning should actually be documented in warning. NI Direct reminds us, your company's disciplinary producer should include how many verbal or written warnings are needed before a final warning or dismissal. In other words, if your handbook says that several formal warnings are required, you may need to go through the disciplinary producer multiple times before dismissing an employee. It's also worth noting that if an employee repeatedly fails to attend a disciplinary hearing, one may be held in their absence as long as take into account my written representation from the employee and any other available evidence before making a decision. So number 5, tell the employee about the outcome. Again, this should be done on writing. This letter is still not a formal written warning. It must tell your employee what action will be taken, and you must send this as soon as possible. After meeting, action and could include post. So first is not taking any action. When no action is needed, to make sure there is no bad feeling, the employer should talk privately with the employee and any other staff who knew the disciplinary producer was happening. Second is recommending a formal performance improvement plan. If the misconduct or performance issues was found to be small and not serious, the employer might just have an informal talk with the employee. Next is issuing a written warning. A written warning is a formal warning that the employer can give the employee at the end of the disciplinary producer. Issuing a final warning. The employer can give a final written warning if within a set time frame the employee either is or commits under misconduct does not improve performance, demoting an employee. The employer might talk at other disciplinary action depending on the seriousness of the misconduct or performance issue. The last one is a dismissal. Dismissal should only be decided by a manager who has authority to do so. You can check your organization policy on this. As a result of this process, your issue is a written warning. That is the official written warning. It must be stored with your employee's employment records. Formal written warning letters tend to expire after 6 months. Allow follow-up after the disciplinary procedure. Employees must have a chance to appeal your decision. If you decide to dismiss an employee, you can should hold a termination meeting. When an employee's behavior is acceptable and they haven't responded to informal chats or suggestion for improvement, it may be time. A disciplinary producer is a formal way for employers to deal with acceptable behavior by an employee.
So that will be all, guys, for our topic, discipline. We hope that you learn a lot about our topic. So see you again next time.